From drab to fab. Here behind me is my Proton Satria 1.5 LXI, and it's one that I fished out of a field hedgerow about 4 months ago. Dad and I have spent, well, upwards of about 100 hours working on the car, and now it is for sale. It's ready to rumble and it's ready to go and be enjoyed by somebody else. Hello, you absolute legends. Welcome back to the channel. John here. Beautiful day in Lincolnshire for anyone that cares. This is then my 2004 Proton Satria LXI, and if you have been following the progress on the channel, you'll know all the work that we've done on it. If you haven't though, well, let me show you what it looked like 4 months ago. First time it's moved in, probably what, 6 to 8 months. Misfiring a wee bit. Hopefully the master cylinder or the clutch hasn't gone. Oh, there she goes, look. That's it then. I'll nip it down to the Starkey boys and we'll get an MOT on it, eh? Yeah, and as you can see in the hedgerow, battered and bruised, it laid, and it needed quite a bit of work doing to it. In this video then, let's take a look at the car. I'll show you around it. We'll talk about some of the work that we've done, because it is project complete. It is for sale. And I want to show you, well, the fruits of my hard work. So before we get into the rundown and the list of everything that Dad and I have done on the car, let's just take a quick look around it and talk about history. I alluded to it in the introduction that it had been in a hedgerow for about 6 months when I bought it. Channel legend Theo put me in touch with the owner, Barbara, who had given up driving due to a health issue. And the car had been her daily driver for about 3 or 4 years. She'd piled the mileage on it after buying it from an elderly lady locally who had passed away. What is it? Well, it is a Proton Satria based on the Mitsubishi Colt from the Malaysian company Proton. It's the 1.5 litre edition, so it's not the bog standard Grandad spec edition, which is the 1.3 Li. This, the 1.5. It is a relatively fun thing to drive, as you'll see in the MOT video if you've watched that. Anyway, Theo let me know that Barbara was planning on scrapping the car. We couldn't have that now, could we? This rare little car of about 4 being left on the UK's roads today, and I went down and had a look at it, and we've seen some footage from that interaction earlier on in the video. Dad and I, as I say, have done lots of work on the car, and I paid 350 quid by the time Shane had got it onto my driveway. Shout out to Shane for going and picking it up with me. Anyway, I could see through the fact that it had a misfire. I could see through the fact that it was dirty and grimy and green, and I could see through the fact that a mouse had eaten it, which at the time, well, I didn't really know that, and I didn't really know about the wiring issue at the time either. But Dad has given us a hand with it. My plan with this one was to do it myself, to do the whole project myself and get it on the road. And put it through auction or add it to the Coupland collection without Dad's help, because so many people that watch the channel know that I am not a mechanic. I am not the expert when it comes to doing the donkey work, when it comes to doing the spannering or the wrenching on the cars. I am just the one that makes them look good, and I'm the Mike Brewer to Dad's Ed China. Anyway, there was a misfire on the car, and that full series of videos of us trying to find the issue is on the channel. And in the end, well, it resulted in us replacing an injector, and actually still to this day, right now, filming this video, it's not running perfectly. It runs fine when it's warmed up, but when it's idling from cold, it's still a little bit rough, something that we've got to address in the future. First thing I did literally was to strip it out, because it was full of rubbish, full of cigarettes and smoke and trash, and give it a bit of an odour bomb. And at that point I discovered that a mouse had been living in the car, or had got into the car and had eaten the rear seats. Thankfully it hadn't eaten any wiring, or had it, because Dad discovered an electrical fault. We'll talk about that later on in this video. But I got the car to Dad's. I realised I could not, on my own, solve that misfire. I did give it a good old clean, give it a good old hoover out and check everything out, make sure there was nothing missing or nothing obvious that we were missing on the car, and it came out pretty well with a good old scrub. Dad started to try and work on the misfire, only to discover that it wasn't what he thought it was, which was going to be something silly such as spark plugs, leads or valve timing. Variable valve timing on these 1.5 litre Magma engines. We know those engines inside and out because we've got the same engine in my Proton 1.5 SE, and if you're a regular viewer of the channel, that's the white one that's in my collection. But it wasn't that, and we eventually discovered that it was an issue with the injector. 60 quid later, 2 new injectors on the car, and it's running, well, still not right, but better than it was. Fuel filter replaced, air filter replaced, and a few other bits and pieces, and started to be suitable for MOT. Brakes overhauled, and just a general tidy up, and then it was time to do other things. Window regulator on the passenger side replaced, and then Dad found, well, a great big rot hole in the driver's side outrigger and spent 8 hours welding that up. Oh yeah, and then he found an electrical fault, which was a big problem. 7 hours it took to cure that electrical fault, but now we are up and running, and the reason he found it was he discovered that the clock wasn't working, and there was an issue with some lights on the dash. When I bought the car, the engine management light was on, which was linked to, we think, the problem with the injector, and we just could not turn it off because the OBD port was not working. That's what discovered Dad to look at the electrical fault and find out that in the wheel arch on the driver's side there was a rotten wire somewhere under here, which linked to a transit fuse, which is a great idea, brilliant, when it's not posh rotten. Anyway, Dad fixed that as well, and we got up and running. Next port of call was to find some seats. Shout out to Mark, who gave us some seats. I had to drive 2.5 hours to Derby and back to pick them up and fit them to the car, but thankfully they were the right thing, and now the rear seats are intact, and we'll have a look at those in a moment when I open up the passenger side. Here you go, check out passenger side. Now the interior has had a good old scrub, a good old clean, a good old tidy, and you can see that I've done my job. My job on these cars is to clean and tidy up the interior. In fact, I've used a massage gun on the seats and on the carpets to get all the dust and debris and dirt out. Let's have a look then in the back here. You can see the rear seats, courtesy of channel legend Mark, looking good. There's a little bit of a colour difference, but I've actually got this rear seat to replace as well, and it should, in theory, tidy up nicely. So the car now looking very good. Oh, and the last thing we did, take it for an MOT, which it passed with flying colours. And then I went and picked up these original Proton Satria wheels for the car, which I think absolutely changed the entire look of the car exponentially. And then I got a ULEZ fine, which cost me 90 quid. So my wheels that would have originally been £100, which were an absolute bargain, cost me £190, which became still a bargain really, but an absolute nuisance. We'll pop the engine and then we'll start the car up, because covering just 42,000 miles from new, still got a lot of life in her yet. Let's start her up, and you can see and hear that rough idle. Starts up nicely. And we'll pop the bonnet. We'll have a look at that Magma engine under here. Very good starting point for a usable, modern classic for somebody. There is the 1.5 litre Magma engine. We'll have a listen to that. But under the engine bay, well, actually it's now starting and running fine. But still, I don't want to tell you that it's running perfectly when, well, it isn't. It is a little bit rough on idle still when cold. I've been shunting it around the garden today, so it's not that rough. But looking good, isn't it? Scrubbed up nicely today, cleaned up nicely. I've given it a wash, given it a brush, given it a scrub, and I'm very impressed. Cleaned all this black work. In fact, that's a job that Dad and I have done as well. We've painted all the black wing mirrors and the black trim around the car and replaced that window regulator. £44. All in all, the car owes me close to about £600 now when you factor in the parts. But if you was to factor in the labour, well, it would be an uneconomical repair. It would have been something that would be a silly thing to take on as a job. It's not perfect. There's still some paint work that needs to be sorted and addressed on the rear quarter at the back there, and there's a few dents here and there, but the dent, or the big dent that was on the side of the car, was pulled out with a suction cup, so it did a good job. I'm sad really that I've actually got the car advertised for sale, because it is a really lovely thing and it drives wonderfully. If you haven't seen me test driving it to and from the MOT test centre, well, you will know if you watch that video that it put an absolute smile on my face. But you can't keep them all. What's it worth? Well, realistically, it's probably worth £1,200 to someone that wants a cheap and cheerful runabout or something a little bit quirky to daily. But because of all the hard work that Dad and I have put in, and I'm in no rush to sell it, i.e. I'm in a lucky position that I don't need the cash out of it. I do need the space, but I'm not desperate for the cash. I've got it advertised at £1,500, and that is the price. That's what I want out of it. I'm not going to take a penny less. I'm going to advertise it on Facebook. I'm going to put it on Twitter and Car and Classic, but no less than that. So if anyone thinks it's worth less than that, well, I'll keep it, to be honest with you. What do you reckon in the comments? 1,500 quid? I think that's an absolute bargain for somebody, considering the rarity of these cars. There's about 4 of them on the road at the moment, and the amount of time that Dad and I have put into it. But that, today, is how the car is looking. I'm probably going to give it a bit more of a scrub, give it a bit more of TLC, get the tyres blacked and take it for a bit of a thrash. I was considering dailying it, but it would trash the car quite quickly. It does deserve to be used not as a daily, really, and that's why I didn't want to price it at about 800-900 quid, because it would get used for delivering kebabs or someone's first car. And even though it would be a good delivery car, even though it would be a good car for somebody as a first car, that's not what I'm about with these Protons, as you know. Anyway, there it is, in the sunshine, in 4K. My Proton Satria 1.5 LXI. I'm going to be sad to see this one go. I genuinely am, because it's a bloody good car, and it's kept me busy for the past 4 months with Dad. But like everything, you can't keep them all. And I've got some more projects in the pipeline here on the channel. What do you reckon? Am I bonkers for selling it? Have you enjoyed the series, or should I be keeping this on? There it is then. The story behind the Satria and the work that Dad and I have done on it, and it's burbling away nicely in the sunshine on my front lawn this afternoon. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, thumbs up please. If you've enjoyed the Proton Satria project, please let me know in the comments down below. Thanks to everybody who has subscribed, liked, watched the videos on the Satria, because, well, you've helped pay for the project. Yes, it still cost me money, but of course if I was to sell it, and when I sell it, I'm going to get some money back out of it, and hopefully be in profit and be able to give Dad some money for his hard work and efforts. Going to be sad to see this one go, to be honest with you, but it's making way for something very special. Anyway, till next time, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Let me know, what do you reckon? Satria project, do you fancy it? £1,500, it could be yours. But like I say, I'm not taking a penny less, because that's what it's worth to me. And if nobody wants it at that, it's going to stay in the collection. Thanks for watching. Proton Satria. There'll be a few more videos to come, no doubt, of me driving it and probably saying goodbye. But in glorious 4K, in my new camera. It's amazing the difference, isn't it? From 4 or 5 months ago when it was in a hedgerow on the edge of a field to now. Now it's on the road again and can be enjoyed. Until next time, have a great day. See you later. Bye-bye. There are so many more Proton related videos on the channel, and I've actually selected a couple that I think you might like here on this page. Give them a click to watch them now. Don't forget to subscribe for more Proton fun and lots more videos coming soon.